Hello, and welcome to Soothing Pod Sleep Stories. My name is Arif, and tonight I will be your guide as we leave Earth behind and embark on a soothing journey into the depths of our solar system, where vibrant planets, stars, and cosmic wonder await us. Before we begin, however, let us take a moment to relax and find comfort in the space that we are in. Allow your body to relax into the mattress in your usual sleeping position. Take a second to really appreciate the feeling of your body sinking down, 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 down into the mattress below you, cradling you. Remember that here, there are no expectations or obligations. All you have to do now is simply listen to the sound of my voice and allow your body to do what it naturally does. Your body knows what you need, and it will soon provide you with the rest that you deserve. As you breathe in and out slowly, pay attention to how that breath makes your body feel. Imagine the dark air around you full of tiny glistening stars. As you breathe in, picture those stars floating in with the breath, lighting up your chest with comfort and warmth. Notice how the stars glow brighter in your chest as the air provides your body with nourishment, allowing your muscles to relax. As you exhale, picture those stars floating up to the ceiling above you, peppering it with a cloud of twinkling stars. Continue with this exercise and know that you can turn back to it anytime you need comfort. When you breathe in, those stars are melting away the tension that we gather throughout the day. And when you breathe out, those stars are floating up to the ceiling where they will rest, taking with them any tension that you may have had. Imagine the muscles in your neck relaxing slowly, 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 slowly as you breathe in and out. Imagine the muscles in your shoulders and back relaxing slowly, 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 slowly as you breathe in and out. Trail down your body, picturing your arms and legs slowly losing tension as those stars relieve you of all the pressure you've been carrying. Here, you are free to simply be. Breathe with the stars. Relish in the coziness of your bed, your haven, and know that no matter what, you always have this safe place that you can return to. The stars are always with you, for you carry them with you wherever you go. Now that we have taken some time to relax and find comfort in the space that we are in, let us begin our journey into the universe beyond Earth, into the cosmic backyard that all of us share. You find yourself deep, deep in the woods of Earth. It is summer, and the forest around you is alive with the soothing sounds of nighttime in the mountains. There are crickets chirping, owls hooting in the far distance, calling back and forth to one another across the pine tree coated expanse of forest. There's a gentle breeze dancing and shifting its way through the trees, causing the bonfire at your feet to crackle just a bit louder. In the far distance, you can even hear the bubbling of a creek, where deer and porcupines and bunnies alike all gather to drink during the day. This is Earth, our planet, a planet that provides us with all we need and more. There are lush trees and plants all around you that grow delicious food. There are animal friends who keep us company and provide us with wonder day in and day out. There are glacier-fed streams full of icy water that refreshes us and relaxes us. And then there's more. There are canyons so deep, it looks as though the land was cut from the earth by the heavens. There are mountaintops so high that you can see across the beautiful landscape for miles. There are fields of wildflowers so colorful, so vast, that they can bring a tear to the eye of the most cynical person alive. And then there is you with all your quirks and stories and fantastic qualities. You who makes the world a better place simply by being in it. You who decides on this day that you want to see a little bit more. You turn your back to your home for the night, a small, tiny cabin. It is a cabin made of glass walls and windows, with small mahogany frames holding it together. In the center of the room is a plush bed, piled high with fluffy blankets and pillows. In the corner of the room, there is a small wood stove fireplace, expertly crafted of cast iron, embellished with tiny stars and moons and planets. In that wood stove, a tiny fire crackles, just enough to lull you closer to sleep and warm up the tiny one-room home that will be your vessel for the fantastical journey ahead of you. You lie down in the bed, sinking underneath the blankets and curling up on the pillows, and slowly, ever so slowly, your journey begins. The tiny home you are in rises up out of the forest. so smoothly and effortlessly that it feels as though you are simply floating. You press up and up and up and up, rising higher and higher above the forest. As you lounge comfortably in bed, watching the landscape transform below you. And then, not long after, you get to see the world and the forest you have left behind from an entirely different perspective. To the side of you, Earth is suspended in an ocean of inky blackness. It is a sphere of blue and green, painted with swaths of fluffy white clouds that swirl and ghost across the vibrant landscape. And my, what a vibrant landscape it truly is. Those mountains that seemed so large only moments ago are now mere paint strokes of sepia tones across the land, catching the rays of the sun with a brilliant contrast. There are breathtaking swaths of emerald, sage, and evergreen, forests in Russia, Brazil, and Canada, all flourishing with their own species, their own trees, their own climate, thousands of miles apart. There's the red of the Gobi Desert in Mongolia and the expansive outback of Australia. Then there are the oceans. The coasts of New Zealand are such a vibrant light blue that it almost seems unreal. The waters of the Black Sea are a kaleidoscope of light and dark blues, surrounded by lush forests and hillsides. For a moment, you lie in your bed and look out at this world, this living marble spinning in an expanse of black, and you feel peace. That is our home. That is your home, and it will be waiting patiently for your return. As daylight sweeps across Africa and Europe, you watch in amazement. The glowing city lights are slowly transformed as the cities come alive with color. The greens of their parks, the white of the snow-capped mountains, the blue of the rivers laced through them. You gaze down as Cairo, Florence, and Prague come alive as the new day dawns. For a moment, you think about all the people in those cities and the beautiful countryside in between them. All those people who you will never cross paths with, who have hobbies and passions and love that is entirely unique to them. And in that instant, you realize that sometime later, once the day has calmed and they are safely relaxing, they will turn their gaze up to the sky, the same as you do. We are all connected. all sharing in this human experience, all turning to the stars and the cosmos for comfort and wonder. And truly, how fortunate we are to live in a place of such abundance. There are those towering sepia mountaintops, mighty rivers like the Yangtze and the Nile. There's the stark white Antarctic, the dense and wild Amazonian jungle, the humbling granite steeples of Yosemite, the otherworldly glaciers of Iceland, the flourishing flowers in the fjords of the Scandinavia. It is truly remarkable when you take a step back and really consider it. And yet, even as we thrive with the abundance the beautiful world has provided us with, we find ourselves gazing up into the inky black sky, looking for answers to questions we don't even know how to ask. We find ourselves looking up to find our place in the world and find our world's place in the universe. And in this, we are not alone. Our ancestors have been looking up to the stars with that same sentimentality, that same desire for more answers since the very beginning of time. Temples dedicated to the stars and the stories and answers that can be found within them are peppered around the globe. In caves, drawings dated back to the Paleolithic era show that even the very first humans had a deep admiration for the stars. They sat around crackling fires looking to space, just like we do today, and just like you are now, in your tiny cabin, sitting beside your wood stove as you gaze out over the earth. But to truly understand how fortunate we are to call Earth our home, we must travel to the far reaches of our solar system and see what the other planets look like. We will start our journey at the farthest planet from Earth, at least the farthest planet from the Earth since Pluto was reclassified as a dwarf planet back in 2006. This planet's namesake ties into the stories that our ancestors told to make sense of the universe hundreds of years ago. Neptune was named after the Roman god of the ocean, and as the planet comes into view, it is abundantly clear how it got its name. Neptune is a brilliant globe of blue, popping out of the blackness of space with so many vibrant hues it looks unreal. The planet is a deep, dark blue, wrapped in a swirling sea of white and sapphire clouds, which seem to dance and sway as the planet lazily spins around and around and around and around. However, there is something about this planet that is far from idle. Neptune's atmosphere is constantly swirling, with a powerful, intense storm where winds can reach speeds of up to 1,200 miles or 1,900 kilometers per hour. These storms are endless and fierce, making Neptune far, far from hospitable. But it certainly makes the planet gorgeous. These thick, stunning clouds are composed of methane, which coat the surface of the planet. The unseen surface is a combination of ammonia, methane, and pressurized water. You sink a bit deeper into your bed as you gaze out at Neptune. You watch a hazy white cloud make its way around the planet. A planet which is 4 times wider than Earth and houses much more power. And with a name like Neptune, that seems to fit. You pull a book off the shelf beside you, a book on Roman mythology. As the fire crackles, 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 crackles beside you, you slowly flip the pages to reach a passage on Neptune. The depiction of him shows a slightly angry man holding a trident as he sits on a chariot led by mythical seahorses. In those weathered pages, you learn that Neptune was not only the god of the seas and of water, but the god of storms as well. Many people prayed to Neptune for good fortune and safe travels as they set out over the oceans on Earth, the same ones that you watched daylight sweep over only moments ago. He was powerful in his own domain, able to summon storms at a moment's notice. And here, on his own planet, he's never stopped. It seems entirely fitting that this planet of pressurized water, this planet that looks like a globe of expansive oceans, would be his namesake. And for just a moment, you wonder what our ancient ancestors would have thought if they had been watching the view just beyond your window. Next to Neptune, there is something peculiar, a large moon that glows brighter than the other 13. A moon that is so shiny, it looks almost like a star. This moon is named Triton, and it is unique for more reasons than one. It is the only large moon to orbit in the opposite direction of its planet's rotation, known as a retrograde orbit. It is also believed to be what is called a Kuiper belt object. The Kuiper belt is a crescent-shaped group of icy bodies that is found near Pluto, far beyond Neptune. It is a region of bits of rock and ice that were left over from our universe's early history. Pluto itself is a member of the Kuiper belt, and it is thought that Triton was a piece of this belt which was drawn in by Neptune's powerful gravitational pull thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. That is part of the reason why Triton looks so similar to Pluto. It has a silver surface peppered with icy plains, pits formed by icy lava flows, and mounds. Indeed, there is a lot of ice on Triton. The moon is so cold that its thin atmosphere is almost entirely composed of nitrogen, which condenses as frost on the planet's surface. This frost gives Triton a shiny, otherworldly glow, reflecting around 70% of the sun's rays. And again, its name comes from the mythology of our ancestors, though you won't find anything about it in the Roman mythology book you still have nestled in your arms. Triton is named after the son of Poseidon, the Greek equivalent of Neptune. You tuck your book away and lean back in your bed, truly appreciating the warmth of the wood stove by your feet. Neither Neptune nor Triton would be hospitable. Both have temperatures well below -300 degrees Fahrenheit or -180 degrees Celsius, and surfaces made of gas and ice. You gaze at the wood crackling underneath the orange flames. Wood that you gathered from a pine tree in the woods by the cabin. Wood that the earth provided you with. As you savor the heat pumping out of the tiny, celestially designed wood stove, you feel a newfound appreciation for it. You silently say goodbye to Neptune, Triton, and the other 12 moons as your tiny cabin begins to move once again, crossing the galaxy at lightning speed. And yet, it feels as though you are hardly moving. You are curled up in your soft bed, not jarred by the motion of space gliding past you at all. You watch as stars come and go, as you dip around stray asteroids, making their way through the universe, much like you are now. You take a few deep breaths, truly appreciating where you are, and then you see something in the distance, something growing nearer and nearer and nearer and nearer, yet another globe of blue. Only this time, that globe is tilted on its axis. This planet is Uranus, which is sometimes referred to as the sideways planet. This is because the planet rotates on its side and is the only planet to do so. Millions of years ago, a celestial body collided with Uranus, tilting its axis of rotation. Now, all this time later, the planet is still fixed in that same position as it orbits around the sun and rotates. It also has rings, vibrant blue rings that pop against the dark backdrop of space. These 13 rings rotate vertically rather than horizontally, the only planet to have this distinction. Uranus, much like Neptune, is a globe of blue. which swirls with a mosaic of cerulean, azure, and cyan. It looks like an ocean plucked out of a child's fairy tale book, a planet full of magical creatures just underneath the surface. Mermaids and serpents and creatures that only someone like Neptune or Poseidon could command. And there is a fairy tale, storybook quality to this planet. While most moons are named after mythological characters, the 26 moons of Uranus are named for Shakespearean characters and characters from Alexander Pope's novels. Just a few of the moons that you see before you are Puck, Ophelia, Juliet, Umbriel, Titania, Rosalind, Cordelia, Francisco, Ferdinand. It's hard to imagine how Shakespeare or Alexander Pope would react to such an honor being bestowed on them. Moons that they didn't even know existed, being named after their characters. You glance to your bookshelf, where a collection of Alexander Pope's poetry resides. You pluck the book off the shelf. As you open it, the crack of the old spine resembles the crackle of the fire at your feet. The book is worn and old, with an aroma that makes you feel as though you are sitting in a cozy library in the countryside with a cup of tea. As you tuck into the book and sink deeper under your covers, your journey through space continues. You feel utterly at peace. When you finally glance up from your book, you are met with one of the largest planets in our solar system, Saturn. And the color of this brilliant planet is completely unlike anything you've seen so far. Saturn is awash with shades of brown, rust, orange, and sand, which whirl and swirl around the planet, glistening in the sunlight on occasion. There is a gold hue that is unlike anything you've ever seen, and for good reason. Saturn can attribute its distinct shade of gold to the ammonia crystals in the atmosphere, which gather together to create marigold clouds. There is, really, nothing but clouds on Saturn. Much like Neptune, there is a cosmic storm constantly brewing on the planet. There is no surface to Saturn, and the planet itself is composed entirely of gases and liquids, namely hydrogen and helium. Then, of course, there are the rings. Some are milky and opaque, while others are a thick band of gold. These 7 bands are made of thousands of ringlets, which are composed of ice and rock that has been gathered from moons, asteroids, and comets. And though there is no surface to this planet, it is named after the Roman god of agriculture. Under Saturn's rule, it is said that humans enjoyed a great bounty with little to no labor, and yet the only abundance that Saturn provides is an abundance of beauty. The planet itself cannot sustain life. However, it is estimated that some of its moons can. Currently, Saturn has 53 confirmed moons and another 29 moons that are awaiting confirmation. 2 of these moons, Enceladus and Titan, are of interest to scientists because their oceans have potential to possibly support life. Next, you find yourself floating, 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 floating towards the next planet in our solar system. It isn't long before you are hovering before the largest planet, Jupiter. At 11 times the size of Earth, it is a behemoth of a celestial body, and the beauty it holds is truly otherworldly. Jupiter is like a droplet of water that has had tiny drops of paint brushed across it. There are bands of red and sand and orange, which all circle around the planet at their own unique speed. These colors swirl with a magical quality, a true mosaic of warm hues, with coruscating light and shadow flickering across it. As you look closer, you realize that these cloudy colors billowing around the planet are just that, clouds. Jupiter's atmosphere is made up of gaseous clouds composed mainly of hydrogen and helium, and the center of the planet is believed to be a dense liquid of some kind. Jupiter is named after the king of Roman gods. This apt name matches its title as the largest planet in the solar system. In addition, Jupiter has the largest number of known moons, clocking in at 79. It's hard to believe that if there was a surface of Jupiter to stand on, you could look out and see 79 moons at night, lighting up the sky. One of these moons, Europa, has drawn the attention of people around the world. And not just for its beauty. Europa is unlike any other moon. It is awash with color, a white surface with a spider web of cracks that stretch across it, colored bright reds and blues. These cracks trail all the way down the surface of the moon, creating an entirely unique color scheme that is simply breathtaking. But it is the chemical composition that makes people particularly interested in this planet. The atmosphere is mainly made of oxygen, and its surface is composed of ice and water. With oxygen and water present, it is estimated that in some form, life exists on Europa. And what a fitting tale that would be, to have life across the ocean of Europa. The moon is named after the Greek myth of Zeus and Europa, a story where Europa was whisked across the Mediterranean Sea by Zeus, who was madly in love with her. She began a new life on the island of Crete, a life far, far away from everyone else. And, indeed, if there is life on Europa, it is far, far away from the other life in our galaxy. You pull the blankets up over your body, holding them a little closer under your chin. The fire crackles at your feet. Stories of Greek and Roman myths and poetry surround you in worn, comforting books. You take one last look at Jupiter and its vibrant rings and cloudy atmosphere before you continue on floating through space. And next, you find yourself at the planet that is closest to your own, Mars. The relatively small planet is a stunning, complex landscape of red, orange, black, and sand. The reddish hue can be attributed to the iron that makes up the crust of Mars. However, people in ancient times had a different idea of how that color came to be. Mars is named after the Roman god of war, who happened to be the son of Jupiter. After seeing the warm hues of Jupiter, it seems fitting that the gods the two planets were named after would be related. In Roman mythology, Mars had an affair with Venus, the goddess of love and beauty. And though we won't be visiting Venus today, there is something rather poetic about the fact that we can see both planets with our naked eye. And as you gaze upon Mars up close with your naked eye, you are astounded by how much it resembles the landscape of Earth, though it is missing the life that we are so fortunate to have. There are rocky cliffs, valleys, and mountains, wind-swept rust-colored prairies that look as though they've been plucked out of the desert in the southwestern United States. The colors are a range of bright crimson and burnt ember, brilliantly peppered across the land. But the most surprising parts of the planet are the riverbeds and basins that stretch across the landscape. Seeing those types of formations with nothing but stars overhead and Earth in the distance evokes indescribable feelings. Mars was formed by water millions of years ago. There were once lakes, oceans, and rivers, which are now long gone, leaving only an imprint on the planet in their place. You sail over this rocky and magical landscape, floating around the tall peaks and down into the deep canyons. It is hard to imagine that once there could have been life here. The wind whips around you on Mars, kicking up dust clouds. You huddle a little more, scooting closer to that wood stove by your feet. This exploration has been an adventure, a journey that has brought you a new level of appreciation for our universe. But now, there is another planet calling your name. Slowly, you rise from Mars and begin your journey back to Earth. As you grow closer and closer, you can see that a full day has passed on the planet. The day that you observed sweep across Europe and Africa has come to a close. And now all those cities and towns are becoming illuminated as their citizens hunker down for the night in their cozy homes. The greens and blues of your home planet bring you a level of peace you've never experienced. There's a newfound appreciation for this beautiful planet we call home. Out of all the planets you visited today, out of all the moons you passed by, this place right here is the only place where we can comfortably live. As you descend down, down, down to the ground, back to your mountaintop retreat in the woods, you marvel at the world around you, the lush trees, the flourishing meadows, the bubbling streams, something you once took for granted that you no longer will. Your tiny cabin lands gently exactly where it left from. The forest is dark, aside from what is illuminated by the glow of your cabin. You walk to the glass door and slide it open. As the fresh air washes over you, you feel invigorated. You can smell the pines, the lilacs, the lavender, the woody aroma of fallen leaves. It is the smell of home. With the door open and the fragrant, peaceful breeze rolling in, you crawl into bed and pull the covers up around your neck. You find yourself sinking into the mattress as though a weight has been lifted off your shoulders. Slowly, you find yourself falling asleep. You are certain you will have dreams of distant planets, of the marvels that can be found within our mysterious and extraordinary solar system. And now, you gladly welcome them. We may not have all the answers, but perhaps we don't need them. Perhaps looking up and wondering, knowing everyone around us is doing the same, knowing that everyone in history has done the same, is enough. Perhaps we can continue to wonder while still being grateful for what we have. I hope this story has helped you reach a night of peaceful sleep. Please join me again tomorrow for another sleep story. Until then, sweet dreams.